So, good evening to all of you once again. Now we'll start with ancient and medieval history, and after this we'll discuss about cultural aspects also of ancient, medieval and modern India, which are very important to be discussed for your upcoming preliminary examination. Clear? So let us start first of all with history of ancient India. First of all, we'll discuss the major timeline and major developments from where questions are asked. Then we'll discuss about the cultural aspects. Clear? So let us start with ancient India. First of all, ancient India. Clear? Now just understand, as far as the history of ancient India is concerned, it starts with the evolution of human beings in the Indian subcontinent, and initially when human beings began to evolve in Indian subcontinent, clear, this marked the beginning of a prehistoric culture in India. Why prehistoric culture? Because they have not left any written records for us, so their history and culture has been reconstructed solely on the basis of archaeological evidences. Clear? So based on archaeological evidences, the history that is reconstructed is known as prehistory. Clear? The earliest evidence of human beings come from the central part of India, which was the large debris regions as Gondwana plate, the southern peninsular plate of India, crushed with the emerging Himalayas, and therefore this region of joining region, there was evolution of human beings found. Clear? These human beings and their culture was largely based on stone implements produced by them, and also according to changing conditions of climate in this region. This phase is known as prehistorical phase, and that largely starts around 5 lakh BC in Indian subcontinent. Clear? So first of all, this is a phase of prehistory, as it is not marked by any written records. In prehistory, the first phase is the Paleolithic phase, which paleo means old, lithic means stone, is the Paleolithic phase. This Paleolithic phase is started around 5 lakh BC and it continued up to 10,000 BC. Paleolithic phase is further divided into lower Paleolithic, middle Paleolithic and upper Paleolithic. Clear? In this Paleolithic phase, human beings began to evolve, and earliest human beings were known as Homo habilis. Homo habilis developed into Homo erectus when people began to walk on two legs, and Homo erectus gave way to modern human beings known as Homo sapiens. Clear? In this Paleolithic phase from 5 lakh BC to 10,000 BC, the people largely used stone implements like hand axes, cleavers and choppers to hunt large animals for food articles. Clear? So hand axes, cleavers and choppers. Paleolithic phase is found in central India. Some Paleolithic caves are found in southern part of India also, and therefore it is spread all across Indian subcontinent. But it started from the middle or central part of India. Paleolithic phase gave way to another phase which is known as the Mesolithic phase. This Mesolithic phase starts from 9000 BC and continued around 4000 BC. Clear? Don't worry about dates, it keeps on changing from area, but these are geological eras. Even single event consumed 1000 years. There is a gap of 1000 years because Paleolithic phase was not immediately followed by Mesolithic phase, as no evidence has been found. So Mesolithic phase starts from 9000 BC to 4000 BC, in which people or climate became relatively warm, ice age came to an end, and thick layers of earth began to be exposed to human beings. Here, the most important tools used by the people were basically the microliths or smaller stone tools, and most of these microliths were geometrical in shape. So geometrical stone implements began to be used. Geometrical means largely either in triangular shape, cylindrical shape or in the shape of core. Clear? So large number of microliths has been found. The most important site, well excavated site, is the region of Begor in Rajasthan, on the river Kothari. where large number of microliths has been found. Clear? This was the Mesolithic phase. Mesolithic phase in turn was followed by another prehistoric phase known as the Neolithic phase. This Neolithic phase at world level starts around 4000 BC, but in India we largely believe that it started from 4000 BC and continued till 2500 BC. Clear? In this Neolithic phase, polished stone tools began to be used because through flaking, through removing the outer layers, clear? Outer layers, the tools began to be polished with having sharp surface, the most important being blades, having two sharp edges to hunt animals. So polished stone tools began to be used in the Neolithic phase or the New Stone phase. Clear? Major development in Mesolithic was discovery of fire also at this time, but the most important development in Neolithic was practice of agriculture. And the first evidence of agriculture comes from a place known as Mehergarh, presently located in modern Pakistan. Okay? With development of agriculture, life became settled and sedentary, and they are also known through large number of potteries made at this time. Why potteries began to made? Obviously to store surplus food grains or agriculture produce generated at this time. This was the prehistoric phase divided into Paleolithic phase, Mesolithic phase and the Neolithic phase. Distinctive feature being hand axes, cleavers and choppers. In Mesolithic phase we have microliths, and Neolithic phase we have polished stone tools. Till this time life was pastoral in nature. From Neolithic phase life became settled with practice of agriculture. Clear? And still I'll let you know the all major source of information about Mesolithic phase and Upper Paleolithic phase comes also from paintings found in the caves of Bhimbetka in modern Bhopal. We'll come to this paintings under culture. Clear? After Neolithic phase, clear? And all information has not been based on written record, therefore they are known as prehistorical phase. Neolithic phase was marked by the beginning of metal age in India, where some metals along with stone tools began to be used. Clear? And therefore this metal phase that started after this metal, the first metal to be used in India was copper metal, and this marked the beginning of a new phase known as the Chalcolithic phase. Known as the Chalcolithic phase. It started around 2500 BC and continued till 1900 BC. Chalcolithic phase. Chalco means copper, lithium stone means copper stone phase. Copper stone phase. In this phase, potteries continued to be used because agriculture was practiced, and this region, or therefore, in this region, the potteries that were used known as ochre colored potteries, OCP potteries at this time. Chalcolithic phase was followed by a developed phase known as the Indus Valley civilization. It is not counted in prehistoric phase, that the Indus Valley civilization is counted as proto-historic phase. Why proto-historic phase? Because they knew about the art of writing, but the script has not been deciphered. This art script being known as the pictographic script. But when in the civilization, this civilization reached its mature point from 1900 BC to 1700 BC. Clear? After this, IVC began to decline. The people migrated back from the urban areas to the rural areas, and again it led to the Chalcolithic phase once again. Clear? So Chalcolithic phase is divided into two phases: pre-Harappan Chalcolithic phase, post-Harappan Chalcolithic phase. Clear? And this Chalcolithic phase started around 1700 BC and continued up to 1500 BC till proper arrival of Aryans in India, who started pure historical tradition in this country. Clear? In this Chalcolithic phase, clear, the two major places were Ahar and Gilund. Ahar and Gilund, located in Rajasthan. Ahar in fact was known as Tambavati. known as Tambavati, the place possessing copper. We'll come to IBC separately. After IBC, again Chalkolithic phase started from 1700 BC to 1500 BC. This can also be termed as post-Harappan phase as well. So make it conceptually clear that Indus Valley civilization preceded also by Chalkolithic phase and followed also by the Chalkolithic phase. Clear? In between will come to Indus Valley civilization, which is not counted as prehistorical phase, but the phase of proper history or proto-historical phase. Clear? This was. Now coming to Indus Valley civilization. Clear? As we had discussed that Mehergarh in Indus Valley, Western Pakistan region, started to have evidence of agriculture for the first time just because of fertile Indus Valley plain. Huge surplus agriculture produce began to be generated, and based on surplus agriculture produce, large number of people could be diverted to other economic activities. Since they could be diverted to other economic activities, it resulted into diversity in economy, trade and commerce in economy, and that promoted growth of urban centers in Indus Valley, and that resulted into a proper civilization from 1900 BC, and this proper civilization is known as Indus Valley civilization. Clear? So Indus Valley civilization came into being around 1900 BC in its matured form. Clear? It is known as the proto-historical phase. This much is clear first of all. Now coming to Indus Valley civilization, look into this civilization. The Indus Valley civilization was in its matured phase around 1900 BC to 1700 BC. To 1700 BC, it is known as the phase of proto-history. Clear? Marked by surplus agriculture produce, and in this phase, clear, it is also known as the first urbanization. This phase is also known as the first urbanization, where large number of cities came into being. Those cities included the cities of Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, all on important river banks. Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, Kalibangan. Clear? And there are many more. Clear? Major cities of Harappan civilization. Clear? The most distinctive feature is all these cities are known for proper city planning. Proper city planning, whereby roads cut each other perpendicularly, and this pattern is known as the grid pattern or the block pattern in Indus Valley civilization. At the same time, in the city planning, another difference is all cities are divided into the upper town and the lower town. Upper town known as citadel, which was meant for elite sections of Indian society. At the same time, in all the cities we find large number of granaries. The great granary, the largest granary is found in the city of Mohenjo-daro. At the same time, we have series of granary found in the city of Harappa. All these granaries indicate surplus agriculture produce generated. Moreover, at the same time, both internal and external trade was followed. External trade was followed with the contemporary civilization known as the civilization of Mesopotamia. Civilization of Mesopotamia. This civilization was known for a very developed drainage network, not found even in Mesopotamian civilization. At the same time, every house had an open courtyard, and every house had proper drains attached to the main drain. The main drain on the streets was covered with stone slabs, and that indicate high sense of health and hygiene as well. Clear? Moreover, Indus Valley civilization continued internal trade with large number of seals and external trade with the help of barter system. They exchanged the goods with Mesopotamia. In fact, Mesopotamian records refer to this civilization as Meluha. Clear? And also mentioned two intermediate locations where trade was being halted. One was the region of Dilmun, and another was Makan. And Dilmun and Makan are considered to be halting stations on the coast of Bahrain. So Mesopotamians maintained healthy relationship with Indus Valley, also known as the region of Meluha. Clear? Indus Valley civilization was purely materialistic in nature because large number of terracotta figurines of mother goddesses has been found, and all these mother goddesses were worshipped as fertility goddesses because plants are growing from their embryo. The male god is identified with Pashupati Mahadev, as this god is surrounded by a large number of elephants, and that indicate livestock population was also preferred. Clear? Therefore, all these developments became very developed and progressive in nature. In the city of Mohenjo-daro, we also have a large great bath at this time that indicate high sense of architecture. In the field of sculpture and iconography, Harappans were very far ahead of time, as they invented some technique known as lost wax technique. We'll come to that under culture. Clear? So all these were distinctive features of Indus Valley civilization that continued from in its matured phase from 1900 to 1700 BC. 517 BC, Harappan civilization began to decline just because of ecological imbalances, and large number of urban dwellers migrated to rural areas. That again led to Chalcolithic culture or the village life. Clear? This Chalcolithic culture continued till 1500 BC, and by this time Central Asian warriors came to India, and all these Central Asian warriors who came to India, they are known as Aryans in India, and they Aryans started the first written tradition in India, as they composed large number of hymns in Sanskrit, leading to Vedic literature. So from here we start with the proper historical phase. Harappans are known as proto-historical because they invented a script, but that script is still remained to be undeciphered. Clear? And Aryans established a phase which is known as the Vedic phase. Vedic phase started around 1500 BC and continued till 600 BC. This Vedic phase is further subdivided into the early Vedic phase, and the later Vedic phase. Early Vedic phase was from 1500 BC. Clear? So politically, the system was marked by tribal identity, in which Rajan played the most important role. The post of Rajan was not hereditary. Rajan was supported by political assemblies like Sabha, Samiti and Vidhat. Sabha, Samiti and Vidhat. Even women participated in Sabha and Vidhat. Rajan was also supported by Purohit. The two important Purohits were Vashishta and Vishwamitra during early Vedic phase. Economically, the most important wealth for them was the wealth known as cattle wealth, and they fought all the battles to acquire more and more cattle. The most important battle being known as Dasrajan, or the Battle of 10 Kings, which was fought on the banks of river Parushni, also known as Ravi. Clear? So economically, because the term for battle in Rig Veda is Gavishti, which means to search for cattle. Clear? Socially, the society was egalitarian in nature. Women enjoyed respectable position, and people were divided into the priestly class, the working class and the fighting groups. Clear? At the same time, clear, no major division. Socially, every section enjoyed proper status. Clear? In 1000 BC, the early Vedic phase got transferred into later Vedic phase. Why? Because in 1000 BC, the hard metal known as iron was discovered. Iron was discovered at a place known as Atranchikhera. Discovered at a place known as Atranchikhera, which is located in the district of Eta in western Uttar Pradesh. Clear? And when iron was discovered at Atranchikhera, the people cleared the dense forest of the upper Gangetic plains and they got settled in the fertile region. Since they got exposed to the most fertile region, they started to practice agriculture. So life became from nomadic people to the settled life and sedentary life in the later Vedic phase. And all information on later Vedic phase comes from Samved, Yajurved and Atharved. Samved is not a new text but contains the selected verses from Rig Veda for tuning purposes. Yajurved mentions about elaborate rituals that began to be performed, and Atharved mentions about some non-Aryan traditions like ghost and use of amulets or tabis. Clear? Politically, the post of Rajan became hereditary in the later Vedic phase. Sabha and Samiti lost their former importance because now they began to be dominated by Brahmins. Vidhat got completely disappeared. Now battle was fought not for cattle. Now battle began to fight for land. Clear? Because term Janpad and Rast is used in the later Vedic text. Clear? The most important battle between the Kauravas and the Pandavas in the later Vedic phase. At the same time, religiously, socially, the society got divided into 4 classes, and this 4th division was among the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and the Shudras. And this division was based on birth. It is mentioned in the 10th mandal of the Rig Veda, the last mandal of the Rig Veda, because that was written largely in later Vedic phase. Clear? At the same time, the position of women got compromised. Now agriculture was largely the male dominated exercise and women relegated to the background at this time. So women did not enjoy a respectable position. Clear? In early Vedic phase, apart from male deities like Indra, Agni, Varun and Marun, even female divinities like Aditi and Ushas were worshipped. In later Vedic phase, we don't come across any female divinity. In early Vedic phase, there's no evidence of child marriage, but there are evidences of child marriage in the later Vedic phase. Moreover, women participated with the male counterpart in all religious exercises. Women did not perform any exercise along with male counterpart. Moreover, in the later Vedic phase, 3 different functions began to be celebrated, and these functions were known as Ashwamedh exercise, Rajasoi, coronation ceremony, and Vajpayee, chariot race. And the chariot race in the later Vedic phase. Moreover, in the later Vedic phase, the concept of Gotra exogamy came, whereby people belonging to same Gotra could not be married. And system of ashrams came into being, whereby life of every individual was divided into 4 phases. That is, the first phase of brahmachari, then the second phase of the grihast, third phase being vanprasth, and fourth being sannyasi. Even though the sannyasi ashram was not well established in the later Vedic phase. All these changes took place, and by 600 BC, later Vedic phase came to an end. Why? Because around 600 BC, the rituals became so complex that Aryan priests began to sacrifice large number of cattle wealth in the later Vedic phase. Some Brahmins shifted from this region and they began to question the validity of these exercises. They began to question themselves, and therefore, after so long deliberations, they wrote a class of literature around 6th century BC. This class of literature are known as the Upanishads. They are 180 number, and all these Upanishads mark the end of Vedic literature, because for the first time, spiritualism began to be highlighted. So till this time, everything was materialistic in nature, but materialism got replaced by spiritualism when 108 Upanishads were written, and they emphasized on establishing connectivity between the soul and the creator, that is Brahm. So from here, spiritualism became the most dominant theme rather than materialism. Clear? So Upanishads were written at this time, which were 108 in number or 180 number. Clear? With compilation of Upanishads, spiritualism began to come, and with this beginning of spiritualism, 2 heterodox, unorthodox religions were established against Vedic religion, and these 2 orthodox religions were Buddhism and Jainism. And therefore 6th century BC is also known as Age of Buddha, because Buddhism became the most popular religion in 6th century BC. So we'll discuss 6th century BC separately. Clear? So this phase is clear. Now we'll come to 6th century BC. Clear? So coming to 600 BC, 6th century BC. Clear? During 6th century BC, several developments took place. Clear? First of all, during 6th century BC, the people further cleared the dense forest of the lower Gangetic plains. They colonized the more fertile lower Gangetic plains, that is present region of eastern Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Clear? And they began to produce large amount of rice. Paddy cultivation began to be done, because these are water intensive crop, and it began to be cultivated in the lower Gangetic plain. So paddy cultivation became the most dominant theme, and that was also in surplus amount. With surplus paddy cultivation, large number of people could be diverted from agriculture. Diversity again began to take place, and that also led to establishment of large number of diverse arts and crafts, and also marked by large number of major urban cities. This therefore led to urbanization, which is known in Indian history as the second urbanization. This urbanization was different from the first one, as it was based on rice cultivation. First urbanization on wheat cultivation. This was in lower Gangetic plains. First one was in the Indus or northwestern region of India. Clear? In this urbanization, iron played an important role. In the first urbanization, iron did not play an important role. And second urbanization began to take place. Clear? But all these were dependent on agriculture only, and agriculture in turn was dependent on livestock population. But in Vedic sacrifices, large number of cattle were sacrificed, and therefore Vedic religion was not suited to the new emerging economy in 6th century BC. Moreover, Brahmins prohibited lending money on interest, but in second urbanization, traders needed money on interest so as to promote their trading activities. So new economy was not suitable. At the same time, by 6th century BC, tensions generated in Varna system also, Kshatriyas began to retaliate against Brahmanical domination. And that is why it is not a big surprise, founders of both Buddhism and Jainism belong to Kshatriya community. At the same time, clear? When all these developments took place with urban centers as major power center, 16 large Mahajanpas were established, and these 16 Mahajanpas were largely confined to the Gangetic plains of India. So 16 Mahajanpas were established, and among those 16 Mahajanpas, the most powerful Mahajanpad was the Mahajanpad of Magad, with its capital at Rajgriha and Patliputra, ruled by different enterprising rulers like Bimbisar and Ajatshatru. 16 Mahajanpas were established. Clear? All these developments, when it was going on at this point of time, two heterodox religions of Buddhism and Jainism were also established. Clear? The religion of Buddhism was established by Siddhartha. Who belonged to the royal family, who belonged to the Shakya clan of Shravasti. He was born in 563 BC at a place known as Lumbini. Clear? At the same time, at the age of 29 years, he left his household life and began to move as wanderers. After wandering for several years, he attained supreme knowledge, or he attained enlightenment. At the age of 35 years, under a peepal tree on the banks of Niranjana at Bodh Gaya. And when he attained enlightenment, in this enlightenment he emphasized on 4 noble truths and 8-fold path. After attaining enlightenment at Bodh Gaya, he preached his first message at Sarnath. And this first preaching of Sarnath message is known as Dharma Chakra Parvartan, that is, setting the religious wheel in motion. Clear? And thereafter Gautam Buddha began to preach his message throughout, in which he emphasized on theory of karma, he emphasized on theory of soul, he emphasized on theory of rebirth, but Gautam Buddha did not believe in the existence of God. Make it clear. So neither Gautam Buddha nor Buddhism believes in the existence of God. This should be made clear. At the same time, Gautam Buddha went on preaching his message till he died at the age of 80 years in 483 BC. He died at a place known as Devariya in the Kushinagar district of Eastern Uttar Pradesh, and his last rites were performed by the Mallas. This marked the end of Gautam Buddha, and thereafter 4 Buddhist councils were convened in course of time. The first Buddhist council being convened at Rajgriha in 483 BC, that led to compilation of Sutta Pitaka and Vinaya Pitaka. The second Buddhist council convened at Vaishali, that led to division between Sthaviravadin and Mahasankhyagas. The third Buddhist council at Patliputra in 250 BC, were patronized by Ashok, that led to compilation of Abhidhamma Pitaka, and the 3 Pitaks combined together came to know as 3 Pitaka. The fourth Buddhist council was convened at Kashmir by Kanishk, and this led to division a bit of Buddhist monks into Hinayan and Mahayana, which was presided by Buddhist monk Vishwamitra, supported by Ashwaghosh. Clear? At the same time, this religion was formed. Meanwhile, in the 6th century BC, religion of Jainism was also established. Clear? This religion of Jainism was established by Vardhaman Mahavir. Or the great hero. He also belonged to Kshatriya clan, and he was born in the year 540 BC. Clear. At Vaishali in North Bihar. After living his royal life for 30 years, he abandoned the worldly life and went on wandering from place to place, whereby he discarded his clothes also. At the age of 42 years, after 12 years of wandering, he attained supreme knowledge. This supreme knowledge in Jainism is known as Kaivalya. So he attended Kaivalya at the age of 42 years, whereby he began to preach his message of Jainism. Clear? It is believed that before Vardhaman Mahavir, there were 23 other teachers as well. Clear? And all those 23 teachers are known as Jain Tirthankars. In this way, Vardhaman Mahavir was the last and the 24th Tirthankar. Historicity of only two Tirthankars are established, that is 23rd one known as Parshvanath, 24th being known as Vardhaman Mahavir. 23rd Tirthankar Parshvanath is important because there is a controversy going on Jharkhand related to a temple known as Shakurji temple. Clear? Because in this temples the Jains are protesting against illegal mining and destruction. Clear? And therefore this temple known as Shikharji temple is devoted to Parshvanath, the 23rd Tirthankar, and this located on Parasnath hill, which is the highest hill in the region of Jharkhand. Clear? So controversy right now going on. Parshvanath, the 23rd one, the 24th being Vardhaman Mahavir. Vardhaman Mahavir highlighted 5 major principles of Jainism, that is, do not commit violence, do not speak truth, do not speak lie, do not acquire property by force, do not steal anything, and observe brahmacharya or celibacy. Only the 5th one, that is brahmacharya, was added by Vardhaman Mahavir. The 4 others were added by Jain Tirthankars. Clear? At the same time, Mahavir emphasized on 3 Ratna known as right belief, right knowledge and right action. He went on preaching this message for several years till he died in the year 468 BC at the age of 72 years, and he died at a place known as Pavapuri near Rajgir, and his last rites were also performed by the same Mallas. Clear? After the death of Mahavir, Jainism was largely promoted by 2 Jain councils. One Jain council was held at Patliputra in 300 BC under the guidance of Sthulbhadra, and second Jain council was organized at Vallabhi in Gujarat under Chalukya rulers. And during this council, the Jain followers got divided into 2 sects known as Shwetambars and Digambars. Shwetambars mean white clad, Digambars means the sky clad. All these developments took place in 6th century BC. Clear? During 6th century BC only, when all these developments were taking place, economy was largely promoted by both Jainism and Buddhism. In fact, the members of Jainism are largely trading communities, and therefore during this second urbanization, coins also began to be circulated. Those coins are known as Karsapanas or the copper coins. Clear? And they are also known as punch marked coins because certain symbols were punched on them. They also began to make some glossy potteries at this time to store food grains and coins known as the Nadan black polished ware. All these developments took place in 6th century BC, and from here period of Mahajanpads start. Clear? In this period of Mahajanpads, 6th century BC is also known as period of Mahajanpads, Magad emerged to be the most powerful. Magad defeated all other Mahajanpads including Ang and most important being Avanti. And finally Magad was converted into a large empire, and this large empire was established by Chandragupta Maurya, also known as Mauryan Empire. So Mauryan Empire was established in course of time. Mauryan Empire. Clear? This Mauryan Empire was established by Chandragupta Maurya in 320 BC, and it continued till 185 BC. Clear? Chandragupta Maurya. Clear? And Chandragupta Maurya came to power after defeating the last Nanda ruler, Dhananand, and this mechanization is mentioned in a drama. This drama is known as Mudra Rakshas. Mudra Rakshas, written by Vishakha Dutt in the 9th century AD, much later. Clear? However, the person who supported Chandragupta Maurya to come to power, this person was Kautilya or Chanakya. Kautilya or Chanakya, who wrote a very important work, Arthashastra. Last year also got question on Arthashastra. This is a book on statecraft. This is a book on statecraft, which means book on political economy. Political economy is largely related to those aspects of economy related to revenue collection. The state cannot sustain without collection of revenue, and therefore it focuses on political economy, a book on statecraft. Not a book on economy, clear? As the name suggests, it's a book on political economy, clear? Mentions elaborately, divided into 15 chapters. All those 15 chapters known as adhikarnas. Clear? Another major source of information during Mauryan Empire is a Greek envoy who came to Mauryan court known as Megasthenes. And he wrote an elaborate account at this time which is titled as Indica. Indica, clear? Some wrong observation has also been made by Megasthenes in Indica, which is not acceptable at large, but he contributed significantly towards society and administration of Patliputra, clear? Chandragupta Maurya, don't understand the timeline, clear? We'll understand the timeline of Mauryan Empire. Just understand, clear? Chandragupta Maurya was the founder. Maurya was the founder. He ruled from 321 BC to 297 BC. Clear? He was succeeded by his son known as Bindusar, who ruled from 297 BC till 272 BC. Bindusar was followed by his son Ashok. Even though he was not the eldest one, not the favorite one, it is said that he assassinated many of his brothers to come to power, clear? So he took 3 years to assassinate all his brothers. According to some Buddhist sources, he assassinated 99 brothers to come to power. That figures may be exaggerated, but it cannot be denied. Ashok assassinated some of his brothers to come to power. That took him 3 years to come to power. He came to power in 269 BC and continued till 232 BC, clear? This was the period of Ashok, and after the death of Ashok, Mauryan Empire began to decline rapidly, and the last Mauryan Empire known as Brihadratha was publicly assassinated in 185 BC by Pushyamitra Shung, a Brahman, and that marked the end of Mauryan Empire, clear? In this Mauryan Empire, one thing to be understood is that all these rulers, none of them supported Vedic religion or Brahmanic religion. Chandragupta Maurya accepted Jainism, ended his life by performing Sallikhan. Sallikhan in Jainism means ending the life by performing certain mortification like the gradual starvation, or also performing certain activities like plucking of nails and hairs. Bindusar supported Ajivika sect, which was founded by Makhali Goshala. Ajivikas believed in the concept of niyati or destiny, not on the theory of karma, clear? And Ashok accepted Buddhism and promoted Buddhist religion far and wide, even deputed son and daughter to promote Buddhism in the region of Sri Lanka and even Tibet, clear? So he made Buddhism a global religion under rule of Ashok. And Ashok promoted several art and architecture related to Buddhism. Will come to stupa architecture, clear? This was Ashok. So Mauryan Empire came to an end in 185 BC after the death of Brihadratha, the last Mauryan Empire, in 185 BC. This phase that started after the decline of Mauryan Empire, this phase is known as the post-Mauryan phase. Known as the post-Mauryan phase, clear? And that starts from Mauryan phase. That starts from 2nd century BC and continued till 3rd century BC, 3rd century AD. That is Christian era. Post-Mauryan phase, clear? Now we'll understand the post-Mauryan phase. In the post-Mauryan phase, clear? After the decline of Mauryans, since northwestern region was not properly safeguarded, several invaders came from northwestern side. And just understand the order, clear? The first one to enter India was the Indo-Greeks. or the Bactrian Greeks. The most popular ruler being the Menander, who established his capital at Shakal, modern Sialkot in Pakistan. Indo-Greeks were followed by the Shakas. The most important ruler being Rudradaman, known through his Girnar or Junagadh inscription written in Sanskrit language. Clear? Shakas were followed by the Parthians. The most important ruler being Gondophares, and during the reign of Gondophares, Saint Thom came from Israel to propagate Christianity in India in 1st century AD. Parthians were followed by the Kushans, and the most powerful ruler among Kushan was Kanishk, who contributed significantly towards political unification. He connected Central Asia with North India, and he imported large amount of gold from mainland silk trade from Chinese and the Romans that led to huge prosperity in India once again under the rule of Kanishk. Clear? By 3rd century AD, Kushans also came to an end as one another Central Asian tribe came known as Scythians, and Scythians destroyed the whole system here, and that created political vacuum in northern part of India. But in post-Mauryan period, another important thing is that not only all these rulers who came from northwestern part of India, within India, in eastern, western and central India, Deccan, some indigenous dynasties came into being. Clear? After, in post-Mauryan period, the dynasty of Shungas was established in eastern India. Shungas was established in eastern India by a person known as Pushyamitra Shung. Pushyamitra Shung. In central India, the dynasty of Kanwas was established by Vasudev. Very important, because during the rule of Vasudev only, Greek ambassador Heliodorus came to India and erected a stone pillar at Besnagar near Vidisha, and this pillar provides the only archaeological evidence for the worship of Lord Krishna. Clear? So Besnagar pillar inscription is a very important development here. Besnagar pillar inscription. The third major dynasty, native dynasty, was the dynasty of Satvahans, established in the region of Deccan by Deshmukh Satvahan. But the most powerful ruler of this dynasty was Gautami Putra Shatkarni. Gautami Putra Shatkarni. Clear? Satvahans, even though patronized Brahmanical faith, but they were tolerant towards Buddhism and Jainism, contributed significantly towards an art and architecture like Ajanta caves, Ellora caves, Amravati, Nagarjunikonda. Clear? At the same time, these were contemporary dynasties. Next important thing is that after the decline of Mauryan Empire, clear, some dynasties were established in the southern part of India as well, extreme southern part, and at the extreme southern tip of Indian peninsula, 3 contemporary dynasties were established. These dynasties were the Cholas, the Cheras, and the Pandyas. And all the 3 dynasties maintained healthy trade relationship with the Roman world, and Indo-Roman trade led to their huge profitability in India, and with this profitability they dominated large parts of southern part of India. All their informations are available to us through a rich literature known as Sangam literature, which were written in 3 Sangam assemblies convened largely in the region of Madurai. First Sangam assembly at Madurai, second assembly at Kapatpuram, third again at Madurai. And all these Sangam literature known as Sangam text written in Tamil language. So these developments took place in the post-Mauryan phase. Clear? After post-Mauryan phase, again will come clear that in northern part of India from 4th century AD, the Gupta kingdom was established. Gupta kingdom was established effectively in 319 AD and continued till the end of 6th century AD. Clear? Till 6th century AD. Clear? The founder of Gupta kingdom was Chandragupta I. He ruled from 319 AD till 335 AD. Chandragupta first was followed by son Samudragupta, the most powerful ruler. All information about Samudragupta coming from his court poet Hari Sen, who wrote Prayag Prashasti, Allahabad Prashasti. Samudragupta ruled from 335 AD to 380 AD. Clear? Samudragupta was followed briefly by Ramagupta, but Ramagupta could not rule for long, and ultimately he was followed by another powerful ruler, Chandragupta II. He ruled from 380 AD till 412 AD. These three are the most powerful rulers of Gupta kingdom. Chandragupta first, Samudragupta and Chandragupta second. Clear? All informations are available. During Chandragupta second, several writers, for instance, came to India, like Fahyan came to India. And Fahyan came to study at Nalanda University. He came from China. He wrote the book, The History of Buddhist Kingdom India. Chandragupta II maintained several luminaries in his court like Kalidas, Bhash, Aryabhat. All of them contributed significantly, clear, in their own field. This Gupta kingdom continued till 6th century AD, and Guptas were ended by another Central Asian warrior. These warriors were known as the Hunas. Among Hunas, the most capable warriors were Toraman and Mihirkol. Toraman and Mihirkol. Toraman and Mihirkol. After the decline of Gupta kingdom in the northern part of India, clear, in the beginning of 7th century AD, or by the beginning of 7th century AD, another kingdom was established in the northern part of India. These kingdoms were known as the Pushyabhuti rulers or Pushyabhuti dynasty. This dynasty was founded by a leader known as Prabhakar Vardhan. Prabhakar Vardhan, with his capital at Thaneshwar, modern Haryana. But the most powerful ruler of this dynasty was Harshvardhan, who ruled from 606 AD to 647 AD. Clear? All informations about Harshvardhan comes to us from two great personalities, that is his court poet Banu Bhatt, who wrote his biography Harshcharit, and also by Yuan Sang, the Chinese traveler who came to India and wrote a book, The History of Tang Dynasty, after returning back to China. Clear? After the death of Harshvardhan in 647 AD, again political vacuum existed in India, and by the middle of 8th century, three relatively larger kingdoms were established. The kingdoms were known as the Palas, the Pratiharas and the Rashtrakutas, and from here early medieval phase starts. Meanwhile, when Harshvardhan was ruling in northern part of India, in the southern part of India, two kingdoms were established. These two kingdoms are known as the Chalukyas and the Pallavas. The Chalukyas and the Pallavas. The most powerful ruler among Chalukyas was Pulakeshin II, who is known through his inscription at Ayole, written by his court poet Ravikirti. Clear? And the most powerful ruler among Pallavas was Narasimhavarman I. Narasimhavarman I, with his capital at Kanchi or Kanchipuram. Clear? In this conflict, we'll discuss that there was continuous conflict in Chalukyas and Pallavas. Pulakeshin II was assassinated and killed by Narasimhavarman I, who even conquered the capital of Chalukyas at Badami, also known as Vatapi, and therefore he commemorated his victory by taking the title of Vatapi Konda, conqueror of the Vatapi. Clear? Narasimhavarman I. They are known in history for their contribution towards temple architecture, as they constructed large number of temples under architecture. Clear? At the same time, clear, in the northern part of India again, after 100 years of political confusion, three dynasties were established in early medieval phase. So early medieval phase. early medieval phase, it starts from 750 AD to 1200 AD. The early medieval phase. Clear? In this early medieval phase, there were three dynasties established in different parts of India. One was the dynasty of Palas in Bengal. Another was the dynasty of Pratiharas in western part of India. And third was the dynasty of the Rashtrakutas in the region of Deccan. And all of them began to fight for the mastery of Kannauj. And this struggle is known as the tripartite struggle in history, as three powers contested to gain mastery over Kannauj. And in this crisis and this continuous conflict, all of them exhausted their energy, and again a political vacuum was created. Meanwhile, at the same time, during the early medieval phase, another progressive development was in the southern part of India. Chola Empire was established. Clear? So Chola Empire, imperial Cholas were established. Clear? And the Chola Empire dominated the large parts of India. The Chola Empire was established by Vijayalaya by the end of 9th century AD. Vijayalaya with the capital at Tanjore, modern Tanjavur. But the most powerful ruler of Chola Empire was Raj first and his son Rajendra first. Raj first extended the Chola territory by defeating the Cheras and the Pandyas, taking away large areas. Raj first conquered the northern part of Sri Lanka. Raj first even conquered the island of Maldives. Rajendra first carried forward the policy of annexation. He completely defeated the Pandyas and the Cheras, conquered the whole of Sri Lanka, and even deputed a mission to the China, where they defeated the Pala rulers of Bengal. And to commemorate this victory over Pala rulers, Rajendra first adopted the title of Gangai Konda Chola, that is conqueror of the river Ganga, and also founded the city of Gangai Konda Cholapuram, that is city of the Chola conqueror of river Ganga. Clear? And all of them contributed significantly towards culture, especially local self-government. Clear? Chola established large centralized bureaucracy, but within that they gave autonomy to village area, and all these informations are available in Uttara Merur inscription. It is in news. Our Prime Minister mentioned Uttara Merur inscription in his Man Ki Baat. Clear? So Uttara Merur inscription mentions about Uttara Merur inscription written by or inscribed by Chola ruler Parantaka first, which was recently mentioned by our Prime Minister in Man Ki Baat, that mentions about the beginning of democracy, because it mentions about local self-government with proper autonomy given by the Chola rulers Raj first and Rajendra first. Clear? So all these developments took place under the Chola ruler. By 12th century, even Cholas came to an end and smaller dynasties began to rule. Clear? All these developments took place in early medieval phase at the same time. Clear? During early medieval phase only, clear, Islamic religion was established in West Asia, and the religion of Islam began to spread far and wide. And this religion of Islam brought some Turkish warriors to India also. Clear? In fact, the first ruler to attack India by the end of 10th century was Mahmud Ghazni. He raided India 17 times with sole objective to extract resources from India, and his source of information was Kitab-ul-Hind, written by Al-Biruni. After some 150 years, clear, Mahmud Ghazni was followed by another Ghurian warrior from Central Asia, Muhammad bin Sam, known as Muhammad Ghuri. And Muhammad Ghuri began to attack India from 1173, and Muhammad Ghuri was successfully established control over Punjab by 1178. But when Ghurian invasions were taking place, Rajputs began to rule over India, and there are different theories related to origin of Rajputs, but the most important theory is known as the Agnikul theory. And according to Agnikul theory, 4 Rajput clans emerged from the Agni Kund, organized by Prince Vasisht at Mount Abu. These Rajputs are known as the Chalukyas of South Gujarat, Chauhans of Ajmer, Pratiharas of North Gujarat, and Parmars of Malwa. And apart from these 4 Agnikul Rajputs, there were 3 other Rajput families known as Gahadawalas of Kannauj, Tomars of Delhi, and Chandelas of Bundelkhand. Clear? Conflict started among the Rajputs and the warriors Muhammad bin Sam. And Muhammad bin Sam fought against a Rajput ruler, Prithviraj Chauhan, in the battlefield of Tarain twice, in 1191 and 1192. Finally, he managed to defeat Prithviraj Chauhan. That marked the end of effective Rajput resistance and opened the way for Turkish rule in India. Muhammad bin Sam also defeated Gahadawala ruler Chaichand in the battlefield of Chandawar near Delhi in 1194. And after his death, his slave began to rule over India, known as Qutubuddin Aibak, that marked the establishment of slave dynasty in India and Delhi Sultanate. Clear? So we'll look into Delhi Sultanate as well. Clear? So Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate from 1206 to 1526 AD. Delhi was the capital base. Clear? The first dynasty to establish in Delhi Sultanate was the slave dynasty, also known as Mamluk dynasty, Elbari Turks. And the first ruler of this slave dynasty, this first ruler was Qutubuddin Aibak. Qutubuddin Aibak was followed by Iltutmish. Iltutmish was followed by Razia. Razia in turn was followed by weak rulers, Bahram Shah. All of them began to be regulated by Corps of 40. Bahram Shah followed by Mashood Shah. Mashood Shah was followed by Nasiruddin Mahmud. Nasiruddin Mahmud, and Nasiruddin Mahmud in turn was followed by Ghyasuddin Balban. And Ghyasuddin Balban was followed by his grandson Kaikubad, who proved to be the last ruler of slave dynasty. So slave Qutubuddin Aibak, clear, he ruled for 4 years, 1296 to 1210. Then Iltutmish 1210 to 1236. Razia for 3.5 years. First women monarch 36 to 39. Bahram Shah, Mashood Shah, and Nasiruddin Mahmud were only puppet rulers. Nasiruddin Mahmud appointed Ghyasuddin Balban as his Naib Sultan. Ghyasuddin Balban ruled from 1266 to 86. Powerful monarch who started his own theory of kingship, followed the policy of blood and iron, established a separate military department known as Diwan-e-Arz in order to establish Delhi Sultanate on firm footing. After Ghyasuddin Tughlaq, his grandson came to power. He ruled only for 4 years till he was defeated by the Khalji monarch known as Jalaluddin Khalji, who established a new line of dynasty in Delhi Sultanate. Clear? This line of dynasty was established by Jalaluddin Khalji. So next dynasty was the Khalji dynasty, established by Jalaluddin Khalji, also known as Khalji Revolution. Jalaluddin Khalji. He was succeeded by his son-in-law Alauddin Khalji. Very powerful monarch who ruled from 1296 to 1316. He conquered the regions of Gujarat, Rajasthan and Malwa, even the forts of Ranthambore and Chittor in Gujarat. He is known for his market control regulations of establishing large military force and defended Delhi Sultanate from Mongol warriors. 6 Mongol invasions took place during the reign of Alauddin Khalji. This question was asked last year in a prelims examination only. So questions are asked from political history, especially Mongol invasions. Clear? Alauddin Khalji died in 1316 to be succeeded by a weak monarch known as Mubarak Shah Khalji. Known as Mubarak Shah Khalji or Mubarak Khalji, who could rule only for 4 years, 1316 to 20. And in 1320, Khalji dynasty was replaced again by the Turkish dynasty. Clear? And the Turkish dynasty to be established after this was known as the Tughlaq dynasty. Clear? And Tughlaq dynasty was established by Ghyasuddin Tughlaq. Ghyasuddin Tughlaq. Ghyasuddin Tughlaq was followed by son Jona Khan, also known as Muhammad bin Tughlaq. And Muhammad bin Tughlaq is remembered in history for 5 projects and experiments. All those 5 experiments failed, and that affected the prestige of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was followed by his cousin brother Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq. And Firoz Shah Tughlaq was followed by Mahmud Tughlaq. During the reign of Mahmud Tughlaq only, Amir Timur invaded India in 1398, gave a decisive blow to Mughal Empire, to Tughlaq dynasty, and Tughlaq dynasty finally came to an end in 1412. For 2 years, no rulers came to rule, and representative of Amir Timur thereafter came to rule over Delhi Sultanate and established his own line of dynasty. Clear? So after this, there was another dynasty established, and this dynasty was in form of Sayyid dynasty. Dynasty was established, and it was established by Khizr Khan. Khizr, who was the only popular ruler, and this Sayyid dynasty was from 1414 to 1451. Clear? After Khizr Khan, the last major dynasty was the dynasty of the Lodi or the Afghans. So Lodi dynasty was established thereafter. The founder of Lodi dynasty was Behlol Lodi, followed by Sikandar Lodi, who in turn was followed by Ibrahim Lodi. And Ibrahim Lodi was defeated by another Central Asian warrior, Zahiruddin Babur, who defeated Ibrahim Lodi in the battlefield of Panipat in 1526. That marked the end of Delhi Sultanate. Political history, clear? Delhi Sultanate. It's clear. Delhi Sultanate. Now just understand, on the debris of Delhi Sultanate, 2 regional or several regional kingdoms came, but among them, the 2 important regional kingdoms were the kingdoms of Vijayanagar and the kingdom of Bahmanis. Clear? The kingdom of Vijayanagar was established by 2 brothers, Harihar and Bukka, in 1336 with their capital at Hampi. And kingdom of Bahmani was established by Alauddin Bahman Shah in 1347 with his capital at Gulbarga. It's clear? With its capital at Gulbarga. Right, the rulers of these 2 dynasties began to fight against themselves in order to gain mastery over Krishna Tungabhadra Doab region, Krishna Godavari Delta region, and also they began to fight over the regions of Marathwada. And ultimately in this conflict, clear, the most powerful ruler that emerged in Vijayanagar kingdom was Krishna Dev Raya. Who ruled from 1509 to 1529. Clear? And he maintained healthy relationship with Portuguese also. Krishna Dev Raya established control over modern Kalinga or Odisha also after defeating the Gajpatis. And Krishna Dev Raya established polity and governance on solid footing, as he was the first Telugu writer and wrote a book on polity and governance titled as Amukt Malyada. So Amukt Malyada was a work written by Krishna Dev Raya. Bahmani kingdom continued to exist effectively with capital Gulbarga. Later on, the capital was shifted from Gulbarga to Bidar in 1424 by Alauddin Shah. Clear? Also by Ahmad Shah, known as Ahmad Shah Bali. But by the beginning of 16th century, Bahmani kingdom got divided into 5 major principalities. These principalities are Ahmednagar, ruled by Nizam Shahi dynasty, Bijapur, ruled by Adil Shahi dynasty, Golconda, ruled by Qutub Shahi dynasty, Then Bidar, ruled by Barid Shahi dynasty. And then we have Berar, ruled by Imad Shahi dynasty. Clear? 4 kingdoms, successor states of Bahmani kingdom. They can give you to match also. Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Golconda, Bidar and Bidar. Clear? Finally, all of them combined together decided to defeat Vijayanagar ruler, and this decisive battle took place in form of Battle of Talikot on the northern banks of river Krishna in 1565, in which Vijayanagar ruler Sadashiv Raya, ruler Sadashiv Raya got defeated. However, in this battle, Berar did not participate. Even though it was decided by all 5 of them, but at last moment, Berar did not participate. So only 4 of them participated to defeat Vijayanagar ruler in the Battle of Talikot in 1565. This battle is also known as Battle of Banni Ghati or the Battle of Rakshasa Tangari. Clear? And after this, the whole Vijayanagar kingdom was parceled out among 4 major Bahmani states: Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Golconda and Bidar. And later on we'll see these kingdoms were conquered by Mughals in India. Clear? So this was political history. Now, after Delhi Sultanate, Mughal Empire was established in India. Mughal Empire was established in 1526 and continued till 1707 AD. Clear? Okay, 1526 to 1707 AD. The first ruler of Mughal Empire was Babur. He ruled from 1526 to 1530 only for 4 years. He died in 1530 after fighting 4 battles in India. The battles being known as Panipat, Khanwa, Chanderi and Ghagra. After the death of Babur, his eldest son Humayun began to rule over Mughal Empire. Humayun faced the challenge from Bahadur Shah of Gujarat and Sher Suri of Bengal, Bihar. And Humayun got defeated by Sher Suri in 2 battles of Chausa and Kannauj, and therefore Humayun was forced to leave India. So Humayun ruled for 2 phases. The first phase was 1530 to 1540 and his second phase was from 1555 to 1556. Clear? Humayun. After being defeated, Humayun went to Iran, stayed there almost for 15 years. Clear? And after staying for 15 years, Humayun returned back to India with large Iranian contingent and thereafter re-established Mughal Empire. In this phase of 15 years, from 1540 to 1555, there was Sur Empire established in India. Sur Empire was from 1540 to 1555. The founder of this dynasty was Sher Suri. Sher Suri, who was a very capable monarch. Sher Suri led expedition against Marwar, the region of Jodhpur, and at the same time, while returning back, he also tried to conquer the fort of Kalinjar. But while conquering the fort of Kalinjar, artillery busted beside him and Sher Suri died in 1545. But Sher Suri is remembered for his administration. He gave due emphasis to provincial administration in India, whereby he established villages, above villages established parganas, above parganas established Suba or Sarkar, and at every level he appointed administrative officers. Sher Suri also gave emphasis on local responsibility for local crime, in which he punished the local officers for any crime in India. Sher Suri also started the concept of constructing large road network known as the Grand Trunk Road. He also constructed sarais, he also constructed dak chowkis, coast minars, and contributed even to currency known as rupaya. He also contributed towards architecture, as he constructed a large city in Delhi known as Shergarh, and within city he constructed Kila-e-Kona Mosque and Purana Kila as well. Clear? Sher Suri. Sher Suri died in 1545. Clear? And after Sher Suri died in 1545, he was succeeded by his son Islam Shah. Clear? Islam Shah was not a very powerful one, and Islam Shah was codified the Islamic law for judicial administration in India, which was a big achievement. Islam Shah was followed by his son Adil Shah. Clear? And Adil Shah, when he began to rule, clear? Adil Shah, when he began to rule, and Adil Shah, when he began to rule, Adil Shah began to rule. He ruled only for 3 years from 1550 to 1555, and Adil Shah was defeated by Humayun in 1555. That marked the end of Sur Empire and led to the re-establishment of Mughal Empire in India. This was establishment of Mughal Empire again by Humayun. Clear? Humayun, after establishing Mughal Empire, could not live for long. Just after some time, Humayun slipped from the stairs of his personal library at Sher Mandal, and Humayun died. Thereafter, his wife constructed a beautiful tomb known as Humayun's tomb in Delhi. Clear? Humayun was succeeded by his 13-year-old son Akbar. And Akbar ruled over Mughal Empire from 1556 to 1605, considered to be one of the most powerful monarch of medieval times. Clear? Initially, Akbar was not mentally prepared to rule over Mughal Empire and was placed under the regency of Bairam Khan. And Bairam Khan looked after the empire of Akbar for 4 years, from 1556 to 1560. Clear? After this, after the death of Bairam Khan in 1560, Akbar started systematic policy of territorial expansion in India. Clear? And while starting the policy of territorial expansion in India, Akbar followed a very different approach. First of all, he conquered all the areas in central and western part of India, including Rajputs, and he established matrimonial alliances with Rajput ladies or Rajput families. Clear? Thereafter, he extended toward the eastern side and conquered Bihar and Bengal, then the northern part of Kashmir up to northwestern region Kabul, and then went to southern part of India. But Akbar could not continue with his policy of southern expedition because of the revolt of his son Prince Salim, and Prince Salim got Abul Fazl executed with the help of Bir Singh Bundela. Therefore, Akbar's health started to deteriorate. He died in 1605, and Akbar was succeeded by Prince Salim only, who became Mughal emperor with the title of Jahangir. And Jahangir ruled from 1605 to 1627. Jahangir conquered the region of Mewar. Mewar could not be conquered by Akbar, even though major battle at Haldi Ghati was fought between Mughal and Rajput forces. Mewar was finally conquered by Jahangir in the year 1615, and Jahangir also conquered the region of Kangra in Himachal region. Clear? After Jahangir, the next Mughal emperor, this Mughal emperor was Shah Jahan. And Shah Jahan was the Mughal emperor from 1627 to 1658. And Shah Jahan conquered the region of Ahmednagar in South India. Berar and Bidar had been conquered by Akbar only, and at the same time Shah Jahan conquered Ahmednagar. So 2 provinces were left to be conquered in southern India, Bijapur and Golconda, and these 2 remaining provinces of Bijapur and Golconda were conquered by the last Mughal emperor, Aurangzeb. So Aurangzeb ruled from 1658 till 1707, and he conquered the region of Bijapur and Golconda. But Aurangzeb faced large-scale revolt and rebellions from different parts of India. He faced the rebellion of Marathas also, like Shivaji, rebellions of Ahoms in the northeastern part of India, Sikhs in the northwestern part of India, Jats in the Gangetic Plain, everywhere he faced revolution just because of his radical approach. Clear? Here only Maratha kingdom was established by Shivaji. Clear? Marathas were contemporary to Aurangzeb, and Marathas were established by Shahji Bhosle. He was the ruler, or rather military general, in Ahmednagar state. Shahji Bhosle was followed by Shivaji, his son. Clear? Shivaji was followed by Sambhaji, his son in turn. Sambhaji was followed by his younger brother, Raja Ram. When Raja Ram died, his widow began to rule over Maratha kingdom known as Tarabai. Clear? And meanwhile, The son of Sambhaji was named as Sahu. Sahu was released from Mughal captivity after the death of Aurangzeb, and conflict began to take place between Tarabai and Sahu. And under such circumstances only, Sahu created the post of Peshwa with wide-ranging powers, and the first Peshwa appointed by Sahu was Balaji Vishwanath. From here we had discussed in modern history, the first Peshwa was Balaji Vishwanath, then his son Baji Rao first, then his son Balaji Baji Rao, who fought in the third battle of Panipat, and that ultimately led to the defeat or death of his son Vishwas Rao and Sadashiv Rao Bhau. From here we had discussed in modern history. This was the political history of Delhi Sultanate and the Mughal Empire. Broad timeline is there with you. Now with this we'll move on to cultural development in ancient and medieval India, which is very important for your examination. Clear? So now we'll discuss about cultural developments in ancient and medieval India. Art and culture as it is known. Clear? Now, in art and culture, just understand one thing, three major areas are to be covered. These three major areas are, first of all, the art forms, then you have to cover architecture, and then we need to cover language and literature. This is mentioned the syllabus, language and literature. In art forms, largely, we have to cover some major themes like painting, then we need to cover sculpture or iconography, then we need to cover music, dance and drama. These are the major themes to be covered in art forms: painting, sculpture, music, dance and drama. In architecture, we have to cover religious monuments and secular monuments, and in language, we have covered classical languages largely, that is Sanskrit and other prominent languages. Clear? So first of all, we'll understand about art forms in India, and we'll discuss about painting. Clear? Just understand about painting in India. Art of painting or the fine art of painting. Why fine art? Because a strong sense of aestheticism and beautification. So aesthetic art and art marked with beautification. Now painting, just understand. Clear? Painting throughout ancient India that began to evolve, all these paintings are known as mural paintings. Clear? So throughout ancient India, we find the evidence of only mural paintings, which means paintings done on solid surface like walls and rocks. Clear? So mural paintings are those paintings which are done on solid surface like walls. Clear? And these paintings starts with the rock paintings and the cave paintings found at Bhimbetka in the central part of India during prehistoric phase. There are as many as 700 caves found in Bhimbetka, and in these caves there are large number of prehistoric paintings done. All these paintings were excavated by W.S.V.S. Vakankar, an Indian archaeologist in 1957. All these paintings depict the normal routine life of the people. It depicts the hunting scenes. It depicts the birth of the child. It also depicts large number of animals and birds. Clear? And it mentions the events of Upper Paleolithic and the Mesolithic phase. Clear? The Bhimbetka paintings were largely done in red and green color with white background, and those paintings have survived till contemporary times. Clear? These paintings are considered to be very important paintings, even included in the list of World Heritage Sites of UNESCO. Clear? After Bhimbetka paintings, the next major area that marks the mural paintings in prehistoric time are the Jogimara caves in the region of Chhattisgarh, where large number of paintings are found at Jogimara caves as well. Clear? After this mural painting started from here, clear, evidence of paintings are found to some extent in Indus Valley civilization also, as there are large number of potteries painted with pink color and black color. So evidence of rudimentary painting found in Harappan civilization as well. But the real beginning of painting, a mural painting, started after Mauryan period, in the post-Mauryan period. And in the post-Mauryan period, Satvahans, we had discussed the chronology. Clear? In the period of Satvahans, In post-Mauryan period, large number of caves were constructed. Rock-cut caves were constructed at Ajanta, Ellora, Bagh, Nasik, Kanheri, Bhaja and Elephanta. Large number of caves were constructed in all the western part of India. Clear? Now at Ajanta we have as many as 29 caves. Out of those 29 caves, 24 are basically Buddhist viharas or residences for Buddhist monks, and 5 are Buddhist chaityas. Chaityas are places of worship. Clear? Similarly, at Bagh, Nasik, we have 23 caves, Kanheri, Bhaja and Elephanta. Elephanta also we have large number of caves. In Ellora, it's not only about Buddhism, there are caves, there are 34 caves, 17 for Brahmanism, 12 for Buddhism, and remaining for Jain religion. So Satvahans displayed high amount of tolerance, and in all these caves, there are large number of paintings. In fact, Gautam Buddha is depicted in form of Padmapani and Vajrapani. Clear? Padmapani means carrier of lotus. Vajrapani means carrier of thunderbolt. That indicate these paintings were not completed only in the Satvahans. They were completed in the Guptas also, and they were finally completed in the Rashtrakutas, because Vajra and set came much later in India. Clear? Blue color is not largely found in the paintings at mural paintings. Clear? Here is Karle caves. Yeah, apart from these caves, there are Karle caves also. Large number of caves have been found in Karle also. All these places being very important in the Satvahan phase, and the paintings in these caves were completed only by Rashtrakutas in early medieval phase. In fact, at Ellora, the cave number 16 is the largest rock-cut cave known as Kailash temple, constructed by Krishna first. This temple is dedicated to Lord Shiv. Clear? After this Satvahan period, clear, paintings largely being promoted by the Gupta rulers. In fact, most of the paintings at Ajanta Ellora were completed during Gupta period, and during Gupta period, they followed a new style of painting known as the fresco paintings. What is this fresco paintings? Clear. The surface on which the painting has to be done, it is clean first of all, and then white lime background is created. After the white background is created, then a mortar is prepared combining of the limestone, the rice husk, cow dung and sticky material like gums. This paste is applied on the surface, and before the paste gets dried up, the mortar gets dried up, the plaster gets dried up, painting is done, so that color seeps into the plaster and it becomes permanent in nature. This kind of painting is known as fresco paintings, which has largely been done in caves of Ajanta and Ellora. Clear? At the same time, clear, apart from Gupta period, paintings continue to develop in the Rashtrakuta period, and Rashtrakutas only completed all the paintings at Ajanta and Ellora. Clear? Moreover, at the same time, paintings began to be promoted. Mural paintings were promoted even by Cholas in the extreme southern part of India, and in the temples like Brihadeshwara, several temple paintings has been done of Lord Shiv and even of kings and queens also, because even they got images of kings and queens made in the temples of Brihadeshwara. Clear? So all these mural paintings continued in ancient India. Clear? At the same time, clear, paintings in medieval India was marked by miniature paintings. Difference between mural and miniature painting is miniature paintings are done on piece of paper, semi-solid surface, not on walls and the ceilings or rocks. Clear? So miniature paintings began to be promoted in medieval India, and the first dynasty to promote miniature paintings in India were the Palas of Eastern India. Paper came from China, and Palas began to promote miniature paintings. Clear? And in those miniature paintings, they began to depict their affiliation to Buddhist faith. But miniature paintings began to be promoted largely during Sultanate phase also. Even though Sultanate of Sultans did not approve depiction of human beings, but some paintings began to be done by Sultans of Delhi. But real development of miniature paintings took place under Mughals in India. Clear? Mughals contributed significantly towards painting, especially starting from Humayun. When Humayun was in Iran, the painting was a flourishing art. So when Humayun was coming back to India, he commissioned two Iranian painters to India, Mir Sayyid Ali and Abdus Samad. And when they came to India, Humayun promoted art of painting. But very soon Humayun died, and painting was largely promoted by Akbar. In fact, according to Ain-e-Akbari, written by Abul Fazl, Akbar established a royal studio in the Mughal court. This royal studio was known as Tasveer Khana. And according to Ain-e-Akbari, Tasveer Khana has as many as 17 artists, in which two brothers also played important role, that is Basawan and Dasawan. Clear? And in these paintings, Akbar largely asked the painters to depict the royal court scenes as well as the battle scenes during the victory of Mughal forces. Clear? So with these two things, large number of paintings began to be done. Akbar also instructed his painters to depict the whole epic Mahabharat in terms of painting to understand the epic, and the pictorial version of Mahabharat is known as Razmnama. So the pictorial depiction of Mahabharat is known as Razmnama. At the same time, Akbar also got 17 stories narrated by a mythical parrot depicted into painting, and this painting is known as Tutinama. All these paintings were promoted by Akbar through large number of royal artists. Clear? After Akbar, the painting was taken to its zenith or climax by Jahangir. Jahangir was a keen naturalist. Who emphasized on depicting natural scenes. Clear? And Jahangir started the concept of multiple colors in painting to give desired impact of natural scenes. Clear? During the reign of Jahangir, why painting reached climax? Because Europeans began to come to India and European themes began to be introduced in painting, like three major things. First of all, under European impact, the optimism was reflected through sunrise behind the hills, and pessimism was reflected through dark background and thunderbolted lightning. Under European influence, they also indicated a large halo behind the portrait or behind the human images, and that was basically to show royalty. Clear? And in fact, portrait painting was largely promoted by Jahangir. On account of all these developments, it is said, Mughal painting reached its climax under Jahangir. Painting began to decline from the time of Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb never promoted the art of painting. Therefore, royal painters migrated to regional centers, and in regional centers, the most important center that emerged was Rajasthan. And in the state of Rajasthan, paintings began to be done, and several schools emerged, like the schools like the Kishangarh school by Maharaja Sawan Singh, the painting being known as Bani Thani. This question has also been asked in examination. And in Rajasthan, we had other schools like the Mewar school, the Bundi school, and the Kota school. Clear? In course of time, regional paintings developed. In Odisha, known as Patta Chitra. In Andhra Pradesh, is known as Kalamkari. In Bihar, Mithlanchal region, known as Madhubani paintings. All these paintings began to merge, and by 18th century, painting was largely promoted in Travancore by Raja Ravi Verma, who started the concept of oil painting in India. So painting continued to be promoted even after Mughals as well. Clear? Paintings in modern time, colonial era, began to be promoted largely by British authority. Charles Metcalfe, acting Governor General, got large number of Indian scenes depicted through a painter known as Mazhar Ali Khan. Clear? At the same time, paintings began to be promoted in post-independent era, just after India's independence, and in paintings also promoted during Swadeshi movement we had discussed by Abanandanath Tagore and Nandlal Bose. Clear? After India's independence, progressive artist group was formed by Maqbul Fida Hussain and Sayyid Haidar Raza at Bombay, and they started a new style of painting known as cubical style of painting. So M.F. Hussain is remembered for cubical style of painting. In colonial era, another great painter was Amrita Shergill, who depicted some bold scenes to highlight the condition of women in India. Her major works include Bride's Toilet, Hill Women, and other important works of Amrita Shergill. Since he died at a young age, she could not contribute to paintings to a large extent. Clear? And at the same time, clear, paintings also began to be promoted by institutions established in post-independent era like Lalit Kala Academy, that promotes painting or support painters and artists by government support in India. All these developments resulted into great development of painting in contemporary times as well. This is about the art of painting. Clear? Apart from painting, the next major art forms that developed in India was the art form of sculpture, also known as largely as iconography. sculpture or iconography. Sculpture or iconography, largely in ancient India, because medieval monarchs never supported the human depiction, so they never promoted sculpture and iconography. Clear? So just understand, clear, the beginning of iconography, clear, is not found in prehistoric times, because there were only people who use stone implements. They never developed the skill to make sculpture or images of human beings. The iconography or sculpture largely starts from Indus Valley civilization, and Indus Valley civilization in fact was very developed in the field of sculpture, whereby we find three different types of sculpture. One is the stone sculpture, marked by bearded man, which has been found from the city of Mohenjo-daro. In skull sculpture, we have by the male torso, also from Indus Valley civilization. Then we have metal sculpture, and metal sculpture indicated by bronze dancing girl found at Mohenjo-daro. And this bronze dancing girl was produced through lost wax technique. Very important technique. What is this technique? According to lost wax technique, clear? In lost wax technique, first of all, a clay mold is created. Mold is created, or frame is created of mold. Clear? First of all, image is made of wax which can be melted. So first perfect image is made in wax, and this wax image is covered with large clay material. Clear? And therefore certain holes are left. Once the clay is solidified over the wax structure, then certain heat is applied so that wax gets melt away. Wax gets drained away, and in that hole created, the metal in molten state is dropped or poured. Once the metal is poured in liquid form, it gets solidified. And once the metal image gets solidified, the outer clay cover is removed and we get a structure. This structure is known as, this technique is known as lost wax technique. And with this technique, bronze dancing girl was made in Indus Valley civilization. Except for Bangal Sinoran, she is completely nude. She is in a dancing gesture, and this gesture is Tribhang. Tribhang means bending the body at 3 points. Clear? So it was very developed with respect to metal sculpture. Third is known as terracotta sculpture. According to terracotta sculpture made of mud and clay, clear, large number of mother goddesses are found, and these mother goddesses are shown as fertility goddesses, as plants are growing from the embryo. There's a male deity also that is surrounded by animals in yogic gesture. These elements are tiger, elephant, rhinoceros and buffalo, along with 2 deer near his feet, and this god has been identified as Pashupati Mahadev, clear, also known as god of animals. He is also identified as Proto-Shiv, because along with this is large number of shivling or phallus symbols has also been found. So Indus Valley was highly developed with respect to sculpture and iconography. Clear? After decline of Indus Valley, when Aryans came to India, Aryans also never supported iconography or sculpture. Most of the time they were nomadic people, so they never promoted the sculpture art in India. After the end of Vedic culture, sculpture began to be promoted under Mauryan rule, and especially Ashok contributed towards large-scale sculptural development. Clear? During the reign of Ashok, the most important sculptural art that developed was in form of pillar art. Clear? Ashok constructed large number of stone pillars in Mauryan Empire. These stone pillars were constructed by Ashok under the influence of pillars in Iran, which is known as Achaemenian pillars. So this idea was largely popular in Iran, known as Achaemenian culture or Achaemenian pillars. Ashok constructed large number of stone pillars, and these pillars are marked by 3 major components. These components being known as base, the main body being monolithic in nature, carved out from single stone. This is known as the shaft. This is known as the abacus. And the human or animal figure depicted on this top portion is known as the capital. And to the neck of this pillar, there's an image of inverted lotus, inverted lotus or inverted bell. Clear? And in Iranian pillar, this inverted lotus is at the base. So Ashok took the idea but made some innovations here as well. Clear? Ashok constructed large number of pillar. The first pillar was constructed by Ashok at Dhauli near Bhubaneswar, but the most representative pillar was constructed by Ashok at Sarnath near Banaras, and the capital of Sarnath near Banaras has been adopted as state emblem by Government of India with lines like this: Satyamev Jayate, taken from Mundak Upanishad. This was also asked last year in your prelims examination. Clear? During the rule of Mauryan Empire, large number of images of yakshas and yakshinis are found. Yakshas and yakshinis are found, which indicate the male version of Buddhas and the female versions of Buddhas. These are part of folk art that was developed during Mauryan phase. Large number of yakshas found near Parkham near Mathura. Yakshinis being found at Didarganj near Patna, suburbs of Patliputra, the capital of Mauryan Empire. Clear? After Mauryan Empire, clear? After the end of Mauryan Empire, real sculptural art developed in post-Mauryan phase, and in the post-Mauryan phase, the most important contributor was Kushans, especially Kanishk. Kanishk contributed significantly towards artistic development. Clear? He patronized the Gandhar school of art. He patronized the Mathura school of art and Satvahans. They patronized the Amravati school of art. Clear? Gandhar school of art was a hybrid school in which images of Gautam Buddha were made in Greco-Roman fashion, indicating Apollo. Mathura was a pure indigenous school where red sandstone was used to depict indigenous images of Gautam Buddha, like with shaven head and only with light cloth. Amravati school was marked by use of white marble, and in this the stories of Gautam Buddha was taken from Jataka stories. 3 schools of art were developed in post-Mauryan phase. Clear? So very important development. At Mathura we have a large human statue of Kanishk also, which is a headless statue, but on the base we have a nameplate mentioning the name of Kanishk. Clear? After post-Mauryan period, sculptural art was largely promoted during Gupta period as well. And during Gupta period, we have found 2-meter long bronze statue of Gautam Buddha, and this has been found at Sultanganj. And in the field of metal sculpture, Chandragupta II constructed a large iron pillar. This iron pillar is located at Mehrauli in South Delhi, which being exposed to rain and water for several years has not shown any sign of corrosion. Clear? This was during Gupta period. Clear? Gupta period. After Gupta period, major development in sculpture and iconography was promoted by Pallavas in southern part of India. And Pallava ruler Narasimha Varman I, he founded and established the city of Mahabalipuram, also known as Mambalapuram. Very important city as of now. Clear? Mahabalipuram or Mambalapuram. And here he constructed 2 major images at this time. Clear? These 2 images constructed this time are known as Mahishasur Mardani, that depicts goddess Gurda attacking or assassinated a demon known as Mahishasur. And another major thing is Arjuna's penance, which is also known as the descent of the Ganges from Bhagirathi. Clear? In this Arjuna's penance, it is depicted that Arjun demanding cosmic weapons to win battle in Mahabharata. Clear? These 2 are more important. The most important depictions in Mahabalipuram. Clear? Mahabalipuram became a very important center. Clear? So Pallavas contributing towards culture as well. Clear? Moreover, clear, another major development related to sculpture art is also related to depiction of some major things in the Gupta period, and this was largely related to Ardhanareshwar and Trimurti, also known as Sadashiv or Mahesh Murthy. All these are important developments in sculpture art. With establishment of Turkish rule, sculpture art was not at all promoted, so no development of iconography took place. Iconography developed largely during the ancient phase. After painting and sculpture, the next major development is music. Clear? Music. And the origin of music is traced back to a work known as Natya Shastra, written by Bharat Muni. Natya Shastra written by Bharat Muni, that mentions about both music and dance. Now, music is also traced back to Samved. Traced back to Samved, which has an Upved attached known as Gandharva Ved, that mentions about the art of music. Samved was not a new text, but selected verses of Rig Ved was taken, and these verses were used for tuning purposes. Clear? Miniature painting also on piece of cloth. Yeah, miniature paintings can be done on piece of cloth also. Clear? Gandharva Ved. Okay. With the beginning of music, three concepts emerged in India, and these concepts are known as Swar, Rag and Tal. Swar indicates basic notes, Rag indicates rhythm, Tal indicates the rhythmic beats. Clear? Music in India has been broadly divided into two sections known as the classical music and the folk music. Classical music in turn is divided into two sections known as the Hindustani music and the Carnatic music. Clear? Hindustani music largely flourished in northern part of India, Carnatic music in southern part of India. And in the northern part of India, Hindustani music includes major musical styles like Dhrupad, then we have Khyal, then we have Tarana. These are pure classical music. There are some semi-classical music in Hindustani music known as Tappa, Qawwali and Thumri, along with Ghazal also. All these are forms of Hindustani music, clear, performed in the region. All these musical forms has been developed by one master, followed by the followers from generation to generation, and that has resulted into several musical gharanas in northern part of India. The oldest gharana being the Gwalior gharana, followed by Jaipur Atroli gharana, Kirana gharana, Banaras gharana. There are different gharanas in northern part of India, clear. At the same time, when we come to Carnatic music does not show any changes. They are perfect and original in form, and Carnatic music has been largely promoted by three jewels of Carnatic music. These three jewels of Carnatic music are Tyagaraj, Syama Sastri and Muthu Swami Dikshitar. Muthu Swami Dikshitar. Clear? Among women, the most important contribution is D.K. Pattamal, M.L. Vasant Kumari, and the most prominent one, M.S. Shubhalakshmi. She is the first musician of India to receive Bharat Ratna, the highest civilian award, in 1988. Also the awardee recipient of Sangeet Kalanidhi Award given by Madras Music Academy. Clear? So this musical forms is promoted in two different forms. Clear? At the same time, in post-independent era. Clear? In post-independent era, several institutions began to be promoted by Government of India, the most important being Sangeet Natak Academy to promote music in India. Then we have a voluntary organization known as Speak Makai. Bombay, established by Kiran Seth in 1977. SPEAKMK stands for Society for Promotion of Indian Classical Music and Culture amongst Youth. Clear? That has been promoting music in schools and colleges as well. Clear? So this was growth. This is largely the growth and development of music in India. We have other institutions like Gandharva Mahavidyalaya at Bombay, Bhatkande School of Music at Lucknow, Madras Music Academy in Madras. All these are very important institutions promoting music in India. Clear? Apart from music, clear, the next major performing art is the art of dance. Dance is also divided broadly into two forms, the classical dance and the folk dances. The earliest evidence of dance comes from Natya Shastra written by Bharat Muni that mentions the cosmic dance of Lord Shiv known as Tandav and the dance performed by his consort Parvati known as the Lasya dance. So masculine dance is known as Tandav, female dance indicating happiness is known as Lasya dance. Clear? The beginning of dance originates from the classical dances. The first classical dance to emerge in India was Bharatnatyam in Tamil Nadu in the temple premises of Brihadeshwar temple at Tanjore, which was performed by Devdasis. Initially, the Bharatnatyam was only a female dance, but of late even male dancers are there. And this dance, the most important performance of this dance is Rukmani Devi, along with Mallika Sarabhai as well. Clear? So this dance is performed. This is also known as fire dance, and this is also a solo dance performed by one person at a time. Clear? After Bharatnatyam, the second dance to emerge in temple premises was the dance of Odissi, which started from Jagannath temple at Puri. Odissi is now marked by Tribhang, that is bending the body at 3 points, and it is considered to be one of the most perfect dance in India. After Odissi, the next classical dance is the dance of Kathakali performed in Kerala, in which the story is narrated through facial expression. The most distinctive feature is face is colored with different colors, eyebrows are covered with different colors, and even all the story is narrated through movement of eyebrows and lips and through hand gesture. This dance is known as Kathakali, performed in Kerala. In Kerala, we have another classical dance known as Mohiniyattam. It is performed in open air, and Mohiniyattam is performed basically to convey certain messages to the people in India. After this, clear? Next, after Mohiniyattam, we have another dance in South India known as Kuchipudi, performed in Andhra Pradesh, whereby the local culture, the rural culture is indicated. Two great performances of Kuchipudi is Raja and Radha Eddi, husband and wife, as it is performed by male and female. Clear? Next classical dance is the dance. After Kuchipudi, we have the dance Manipuri. We have another dance, classical dance known as Manipuri, which was promoted largely by women. In fact, Krishna and Radha is shown in Manipuri dance, and this dance is considered to be very important. Clear? And in this dance, clear, the largely contribution has been 4 sisters. They are known as Javeri sisters: Naina, Suvarna, Darshana and Ranjana. Clear? After Manipuri, in the northeast, we have another dance known as the Kshatriya dance. In this Satya dance, not Krishna and Radha is shown, but Radha along with gopis are shown. Clear? And it's performed by the Bhokots. Clear? Bhokots were basically the followers of the great bhakti saint in Assam known as Shankar Dev. And the last major classical dance, only dance from northern part of India, this dance is known as Kathak. Largely performed in the region of Jaipur, Banaras and the region of Lucknow. Clear? This Kathak dance is considered to be a dance whereby perfect symmetry or perfect synchronization is maintained between the dancer and the tabla player. As the beats of dance increase, the tabla player also increases the beat, and this synchronization is known as Jugal Bandi. The most important performer of this dance is Achan Maharaj and the Birju Maharaj in the region of Lucknow. These are 8 classical dances of India. They are very important. You should know about these classical dances and the features as well. Along with folk dances are performed in different states like Ghumar in Rajasthan, Dandiya, then Garba, in different states. Clear? But these are the most important classical dances in India. After dances, the next major development is performing arts as drama, also known as theatre. The earliest evidence of amphitheatres, that is stadium-like structure with flight of circular step, the earliest example of amphitheatres comes from Jogi Mara caves in Chhattisgarh. So it comes from the Jogimara caves in Chhattisgarh, where there's the evidence of amphitheaters, which indicate performance of theater or drama. Clear? Moreover, the drama can also be traced back to ancient times. A large number of dramatists emerged in ancient time. Clear? The first major dramatist was Ashwaghosh, who was contemporary of Vishwamitra, and Ashwaghosh wrote a drama known as Sariputra Prakarna. Sariputra Prakarna was the first major drama. After Ashwaghosh, Bhasha wrote Swapnavasvadattam. Swapnavasvadattam is another major drama, and after that, these two persons, the greatest dramatist of ancient India was Kalidas. Clear? And Kalidas wrote three important dramas known as Abhigyan Shakuntalam, Vikram Urvashi and Malvikagni Mitra. Abhigyan Shakuntalam mentions about the love affair of a king Dushyant with the daughter of a saint, Brahman priest. Vikram Urvashi mentions about the love of a king with a coach son or Apsara. And Malvikagni Mitra mentions the love affair between the king and the daughter of a servant. And all these dramas written by Kalidas, they are comedies, no tragedies. And in these dramas, the characters of higher social order speak in Sanskrit, the characters of lower social order speak Prakrit at this time. This indicates that there was linguistic differentiation in Indian society. After Kalidas, another great dramatist was Shudrak, who wrote Mrichkatika. Clear? Apart from Shudrak, next major dramatist was Harshvardhan himself, who wrote three important dramas known as Ratnavali, Naganand and Priyadarshika. Clear? So all these dramas were written in ancient India, but dramatic acts were not written in medieval India, as dramas were not promoted by either Delhi Sultans and Mughals. Dramas continue to be promoted in modern India, but in modern India through dramas, radical approaches were followed against the British. So in order to suppress this, British authority enacted an act known as Dramatic Performances Act in 1876 to perform or to put restrictions on such dramatic performances. This Dramatic Performance Act has been retained even after India's independence to prohibit seditious depiction through dramas. Clear? At the same time, clear, dramas also began to promote it at the time of India's independence by an organization known as IPTA, Indian People's Theatre Association. An Indian People's Theatre Association was established in 1943 by the communist members of CPI, as CPI became a legal party in 1943 and 1942. And in establishment of IPTA, major role was played by very important theatre personalities like Prithviraj Kapoor and Balraj Sahni. Clear? Balraj Sahni even wrote a drama known as Garam Hawa, which depicted the partition massacre in India. After India's independence, dramas began to be promoted through Sangeet Natak Academy, and in which the major role was played by Girish Karnad and Vijay Tendulkar. You need to go through these dramas as well. Clear? After dramas, clear, next major theme in culture is architecture. Theme is architecture. Clear? Now, architecture means construction of large monuments in India. Clear? So, large monuments began to be constructed in ancient India. Clear? And most of these monuments are religious monuments constructed in India. Just understand. Clear? The first major development of religious monuments started much later, but before that, secular monuments of public utilities began to be constructed. Clear? The first example of the structures of public utility comes from Indus Valley civilization. And in Indus Valley civilization, large cities were constructed. These cities were marked by Great Bath also. These cities were marked by large granaries also. These cities were marked by citadel and lower town also. So secular buildings were constructed in Indus Valley civilization. But as we progress, urban construction of monuments was largely religious in nature, and first religious monuments to be constructed was related to Buddhism in form of stupas. So large number of stupas were constructed, and these stupas were constructed under the patronage of Ashok. Clear? Ashok constructed large number of stupas to worship the images of Gautam Buddha. The most important stupa being located at Sanchi near Bhopal in modern Madhya Pradesh. Clear? So these stupas are very important. Terms are asked related to stupas. Just look into these terms. Clear? So stupas are hemispherical structure marked by a rectangular box known as Harmika, where remains or ashes of Gautam Buddha is placed, and this Harmika is surmounted by a circular disc. So this structure is known as Harmika The circular disc is known as Chhatri, and this hemispherical structure is surmounted or covered by or marked by a circular path. This circular path is known as circumambulatory path. Circumambulatory path. In Buddhism, we call it to be Pradakshina path. Pradakshina path. Clear? The whole structure has been enclosed in a large boundary wall. Clear? This large boundary wall, and this boundary wall is known technically as Vedika. And this boundary wall is marked by 4 gateways at 4 corners. These gateways are known as Toran. And these gateways are marked by panels that depict the previous births of Gautam Buddha taken from Jatak stories. These terms are important. Clear? They are found in stupas. The most important being stupa at Sanchi in Madhya Pradesh. Clear? It's clear. The stupas. Clear? Moreover, after Ashok also started the practice of constructing rock-cut caves in India. He constructed some rock-cut caves known as the Barabar caves. Barabar caves on Nagarjuni hills. On Nagarjuni hills. Barabar caves on Nagarjuni hills. Nagarjuni hills. These caves were dedicated to Ajivika sects in India. Ajivika sects in India. Clear? Right. However, the real construction of rock-cut caves was started by the Satvahans ruler in the Deccan, and Satvahans constructed large number of rock-cut caves at Ajanta, Ellora, Karle, Nasik, Bhaja, Elephanta. Clear? Elephanta. In Elephanta only we have found the image of Ardhanarishwar, that is half male and half female, that is God Shiva and Parvati, and we have found the image of Trimurti. Clear? At the same time, clear? Among these caves, the most important cave was basically the most important cave clear. So, yeah, Lomas Rishi cave also, clear. So, Lomas Rishi constructed by in the Barabar, Nagarjuni hills, clear. Real construction caves were started by Satvahans at this time, and this cave architecture reached its glory under Rashtrakutas, who constructed a large rock-cut cave devoted to Lord Shiv, known as the Kailash temple at Ellora. In fact, it is the most delicately designed rock-cut temple all across Asian continent. So, rock-cut architecture took place here. Rock-cut caves were constructed in eastern part of India also by a ruler known as Kharvel, who belonged to Meghvarman dynasty. Clear? These caves were constructed in Udaygiri and Khandagiri region in modern Odisha. Clear? Rock-cut architecture also started to develop in southern part of India as rock-cut temples began to be constructed. Clear? But at the same time, in the field of architecture, temple construction was started by the Guptas in northern part of India, but Guptas constructed all the temples with bricks as principal building material, and therefore these temples has not survived till date. Therefore, Guptas are considered to be poor in architecture. The remains of these temples are found at Bhitri near Kanpur, Bhitargaon near Ghazipur, Devgarh near Jhansi, and the temple of Gupta period in Devgarh is known as Dash Avatar temple, indicating the incarnations of Lord Vishnu. But real construction of temple was started by Pallavas and Chalukyas in South India with stones as building material. Clear? Chalukyas constructed as many as 70 temples at Ayole, Badami and Pattadakal. Among those temples, the most prominent are Virupaksha temple and Papanatha temple. Whereas Pallavas constructed large number of temples, the first being Kailashnath temple at Kanchi or Kanchipuram, and then followed by Shore temple and Seventh temple at Mahabalipuram or Mammalapuram. Clear? But temple construction in southern part of India was taken to its glory by Cholas, who constructed large temples like Brihadeshwara temple at Tanjore and another Brihadeshwara temple at Gangai Konda Cholapuram. But here we need to discuss that there are three styles of temple architecture. Clear? These three styles of temple architecture are known as the Nagar style, the Vesar style, and the Dravid style of temple architecture. Clear? We'll understand the styles. Nagar style is largely followed in northern part of India. In every temple, there's a ground plan marked by Garbhagriha, where the main idol is placed along with the mandap, and this is surmounted by two curvilinear tower. This curvilinear tower is technically known as Shikhar. So Shikhar is the most distinctive feature of all the temples in northern part of India. When we move to southern part of India, the ground plane remains to be same. Clear? And above this ground plane, Shikhar is not constructed, but there is a concept of constructing tower over tower. This tower varies from 5 to 7 story, and this tower is the most distinctive feature of the Dravid style of temple architecture. This structure in South India under Dravid style is known as Viman. Clear? And in central part of India, again, the ground plane remains to be same ground structure, but to some extent Viman is constructed. But above this Viman, there is also the concept of constructing a Shikhar. So it is not a new style, but it is a hybrid style of Nagar and Dravid style. Clear? Nagar style is best represented in the Jagannath temple at Puri. Jagannath temple at Puri. Vesar style is best represented in the Kandarya Mahadev temple. Kandarya Mahadev temple at Khajuraho, and this style is best represented at Brihadeshwara temple at Tanjore. Three different styles of temple architecture. There are some regional variations, especially in Kaling. In Kaling or modern Odisha, we have large number of temples, the temples being known as the Lingaraj temple at Bhubaneswar. Then we have the Jagannath temple at Puri, Sun temple at Konark. In the Kaling style, there's the Shikhar, which is known as Rekha Deval. At the time, there's a large platform in front of mandap known as Jagmohan. And at this time, this makes distinct style known as Kaling style of temple architecture. Some erotic scenes are also depicted in Sun temple at Konark, and this is a distinctive feature of Kaling style. Large three major styles of temple architecture in India. Clear? So temple construction. Temple construction was also promoted during medieval times, especially in the Mughals. Akbar promoted the construction of large number of temples. Raja Man Singh constructed the famous Vishwanath temple at Banaras. Clear? And Bir Singh Buntila constructed large number of temple known as Keshav Rai temple at Mathura. Is clear? This architecture. Clear? In Jain religion, architecture was followed as large number of temples were constructed. The first temple was constructed on hill known as Satrunja Hill in Palitana region of Gujarat. Clear? But Jains constructed large number of temples at Mount Abu in Rajasthan known as Dilwara temples. These Dilwara temples were constructed in pure white marble that indicate the prosperity of traders. And at the same time, clear, apart from Dilwara temples, Jain constructed red sandstone temple at Delhi also in front of Red Fort known as Digambar Lal Jain Mandir. Clear? When we proceed to medieval India, when Turks came to India, they introduced their own concept of architecture in India, and this concept was marked by arch and dome and beautification techniques like calligraphy and foliation. These styles were mixed with existing Indian style, leading to Indo-Islamic architecture. Clear? First of all, the Turks did not construct any monument from scratch. They converted the existing monuments into Islamic monuments, like Aibak converted a large Jain temple in Delhi known as Quwwatul Islam Mosque. He converted a large Sanskrit library at made known as Arhai Din Ka Jhopra. But he constructed one monument in form of brick tower in memory of Sufi saint Kutubuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki, and this is known as Qutb Minar, marked by projecting balconies on the top of every story. This construction was completed by Iltutmish and later on repaired by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. But the real constructor among Delhi Sultan was Alauddin Khalji, who was highly influenced by Seljuk style of architecture, and Alauddin Khalji lavishly used red sandstone. Alauddin Khalji led the foundation of a new city in Delhi known as City of Siri, and in this city constructed a large mosque known as the Jamaat Khana Mosque, the region of Nizamuddin. After Alauddin Khalji, Tughlaqs also contributed to a monument, and they used grey stone in the construction of monuments. Clear? And with grey stone, Tughlaqs constructed large monuments. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq founded the city of Tughlaqabad, and within the city of Tughlaqabad, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq constructed a large fort known as Tughlaqabad Fort. And in front of Tughlaqabad Fort, on an elevated area, he constructed his own tomb. And this tomb was surmounted by a dome of white marbles. In this aspect, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq was the first monarch to use white marble in the construction of tomb. After Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq led the foundation of Jahanpana, the city in Delhi, and after Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the real constructor was Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq founded several cities in India, like two cities of Firozabad, one in Delhi, another in UP. He also founded the city of Jaunpur in memory of his brother Jona Khan, that is Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq also founded the city of Hisar Firoza in modern Haryana. Firoz Shah Tughlaq was fond of laying orchards in India, and he laid large number of orchards between Hisar and Firozabad, and these orchards were meant for cultivation of horticulture crops, especially grapes. 7 varieties of grapes were cultivated under Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq is also known for construction of large number of canals in India, and all these canals were known as Rajabwa and Ulugh Khani. So terms for canals is Rajabwa and Ulugh Khani. Rajabwa and Ulugh Khani. And Ulugh Khani. Clear? Rajabwa and Ulugh Khani. Firoz Shah Tughlaq also constructed a large luxury resort in Delhi. This luxury resort is known as Haus Khas in Delhi. Clear? All these contribution was given by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Clear? After the Tughlaq, the Sayyids and Lodhis could not construct large monuments, but they experimented in the construction of tombs and mausoleums in India. And they began to construct tombs on a higher platform in the middle of a garden for better view. The most important example being Lodhi tomb in Delhi, or Lodhi garden in Delhi, where large number of tombs are there, placed in the midst of the garden on an elevated area. These were major developments done on the debris of Mughal Empire. Vijayanagar kingdom existed, and the most powerful ruler among Vijayanagar was Krishnadev Raya, and Krishnadev Raya constructed some big temples in India, the most important being the Vitthal Swami temple and the Hazara Rama Swami temple. Okay? Even Bahmani rulers contributed significantly to architecture. The Qutub Shahi rulers of Golconda founded the city of Hyderabad, and within the city of Hyderabad they constructed a grand structure known as Char Minar. Even Adil Shahi rulers, Ali Adil Shah, began to construct his own tomb, and this tomb is surmounted by a large dome known as Gol Gumbad or Gol Gumbas, and this dome is the second largest dome in the world after the dome of St. Thom Church at Rome in Italy. Clear? After this, when Mughals came to power, Mughals contributed significantly towards architecture. Babur, who ruled only for 4 years, constructed 2 mosques in India, one at Panipat, another at Sambhal near Muradabad. But after Babur, Humayun led the basis of one new city in Delhi known as Deenpana, and in this city constructed Sher Mandal. And after the death of Humayun in this city only, his wife Hamida Bano Begum constructed a large tomb known as Humayun's tomb. And this is the model structure constructed on pure Iranian style, because Hamida Banu had returned back from Iran after staying for 15 years. Humayun's tomb is constructed in pure red sandstone. It is constructed on octagonal base, having 8 vertex, surrounded by a large garden, and this tomb is surmounted by a double dome made of white marble. All these are distinctive features of Humayun's tomb. After Humayun, Akbar contributed significantly to architecture. He founded the new city of Fatehpur Sikri near Agra, and at Fatehpur Sikri, Akbar constructed monuments like Diwan-e-Am, Diwan-e-Khas, Jodhabai's palace, Panch Mahal, and Sita Ki Rasoi. All these in red sandstone. Finally, Akbar also constructed a lofty gate at Fatehpur Sikri known as Buland Darwaza in 1573 to commemorate his victory over Gujarat. This question has been asked last year. Clear? That Akbar constructed Buland Darwaza to commemorate his victory over Gujarat. And apart from all these monuments constructed in red sandstone, Akbar constructed one monument in pure white marble, and that was the tomb of Sheikh Salim Chishti. Clear? So, tomb of Sheikh Salim Chishti was constructed by Akbar at Fatehpur Sikri. Apart from this, Akbar constructed some palace fortress in red sandstone. 3 very important palace fortresses constructed by Akbar was at Red Fort at Agra, Allahabad, and Lahore. Clear? After Akbar, Jahangir did not take much interest in the art of architecture, but his wife Noor Jahan introduced a new concept of beautifying the monuments. This new concept of beautifying the monuments is known as Pietra dura. As per this concept, precious and semi-precious stones were applied on walls and panels to beautify the monuments. She applied this technique for the first time while she constructed the tomb of her father, Itmat-ud-Dawla, at Agra. So, on the tomb of her father, Itmat-ud-Dawla, she started the concept of Pietra dura. Clear? At the same time, after the reign of Jahangir, Shah Jahan came to power, and Mughal architecture reached zenith under Shah Jahan. So, Mughal painting reached zenith under Jahangir. Mughal architecture reached zenith under Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan founded and established the city of Shah Jahanabad in Delhi, and in the city of Shah Jahanabad, he constructed the large Red Fort, Lal Qila, and also Jama Masjid. Clear? Moreover, Shah Jahan constructed a mosque of pearl or Moti Masjid in the Red Fort at Agra. Clear? Moreover, to crown all these monuments, Shah Jahan constructed the great Taj at Agra in memory of his beloved wife Mumtaz Mahal. Clear? And at this time when he constructed this monument, it was constructed on a floating structure. Taj Mahal is not a static structure, it's a floating structure on river Yamuna, which is based on sinkholes. Clear? And therefore, Taj Mahal's perfect symmetry is maintained because to maintain it floating on river water of Yamuna. It's not a static structure. Clear? After Taj Mahal, Aurangzeb did not take much interest in architecture. He constructed Mosque of Pearl or Moti Masjid at Red Fort in Delhi. Clear? And Aurangzeb also constructed Badshahi Mosque at Lahore and began to construct the tomb for his wife Rabia-ud-Dawran at Aurangabad. This structure being popularly known as Bibi Ka Maqbara. Clear? After the death of Aurangzeb, Mughal architecture began to decline. Clear? And in colonial period, British contributed towards architecture and they followed Gothic style of architecture. Europeans. Clear? And in Gothic style of architecture, Portuguese and French began to construct large number of churches in India. The most important church under Gothic style being St. Cathedral Church at Goa. St. Cathedral Church at Goa. In this Gothic architecture, the front facade is made large and triangular in shape with cross mark and followed by a large assembly hall for prayer meeting. This is known as Gothic architecture. Clear? In Indo-Gothic style, British also constructed Victoria Terminus at Mumbai, which is right now known as Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus. British also contributed towards large administrative building like Victoria Memorial at Calcutta, which was conceived by Lord Curzon in India. And ultimately, they also started the construction of President House in India, and also the two administrative blocks known as North Block and South Block, drafted by Lutyens, also known as Lutyens Delhi. After India's independence, two great architects of India was Laurie Baker who is known as the architect of the poor, because he used some simple articles to construct monuments, especially in the region of Kerala. Clear? And another great architect was Charles Correa from the region of Secunderabad. And Charles Correa planned several monuments in India, like the Legislative Assembly in Madhya Pradesh. He also drafted the building in Connaught Place known as the Jeevan Bharati building. All these are contributions of Charles Correa. So in post-independent era, we have contributors of Laurie Baker and Charles Correa. Even the city of Chandigarh being planned by French architect Le Corbusier, which is one of the most planned city in India. Architecture. Clear? Sir, you must be tired. We can take one more day later for IR and remaining medieval and culture. No, we have to complete today indeed. Raksha Yadav. Clear? Srushti Sharma. Sir, complete IR only when you feel comfortable, and if not, then you can give notes for that. We'll read. No, it's a commitment. So commitment means commitment. We'll be doing IR also today itself. Clear? Sir, I think we should stop after. You should take some rest also. IR can be done with notes or some other day. No, we have to complete IR as well. Clear? Even if it takes more time, it's not issue. Clear? Coming to architecture, then we'll move on to the last major dimension, that is language and literature. Language and literature. Clear? Now, the third major dimension of culture is language and literature. Now, just understand, clear, that there are 6 classical languages in India. These classical languages are very important. You need to take care of that. In 2004 only, clear, the Ministry of Culture has identified 6 classical languages of India. These classical languages are Sanskrit. Then we have another classical language of Odissi. Then 4 classical languages from Dravidian group, that is Tamil, Kannada, Telugu and Malayalam. Clear? And what are the criteria to accept any language as classical language? The language must have the past of more than 1500 years or 2000 years. The language must be unique, and the language has not borrowed any grammar from other languages. So there are 3 criteria on which classical languages are identified. One is the antiquity of more than 1500 years. Second is that it should have its own original grammar. And third is it should not have borrowed anything from other languages. In this category, there are 6 classical languages in India. Sanskrit started to emerge right from ancient times with the Vedic literature. The 4 Vedic literature we had discussed: Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Yajur Veda and Atharvaveda. Thereafter, large number of works began to be written in Sanskrit, and Sanskrit became the most dominant language in India. Odissi began to develop in the ancient India, and from ancient India this language started to become very proper with all the grammatical rules. This language has been promoted largely by Sarala Das, and modern times it has been promoted by Fakir Senapati. Fakir Senapati. Tamil was promoted first of all by Sangam Age. 3 Sangam assemblies were held, and large number of Tamil works were written, starting with the grammatical work known as Tolkappayam, written by Tolkappayar. And all Tamil texts in Sangam literature being divided into 2 categories: the 18 major works known as Melkanakku and the 18 minor works known as Kilkanakku. Clear? Kannada was started by a Rashtrakuta ruler, Amogh Varsh. And the first Kannada work is titled as Kavi Rajmarg. Telugu was started by Krishna Dev Raya. He wrote the first Telugu work on polity and governance known as Amukt Malyada. And Malayalam, even though it's the latest one, clear, starting largely from 18th century Martanda Varma. But the literature of Malayalam dates back to almost 8th century AD, and therefore it is also counted as the classical language in India. So these are 6 classical languages of India, and you must be knowing we don't have any national language. Our official language is Hindi along with English, and even every state is allowed to have its own state language. Clear? So we don't have any national language of India. India's official language is Hindi along with English, and states are allowed to have their own languages specific to their culture. These are classical languages. Sanskrit works we had discussed, even dramas also, all these are written in Sanskrit only, and Sanskrit continue to promote it. Even though Pali is not included in this category, that is a protest by Pali speakers that they want Pali to be included because it fulfills all the criteria of the classical languages, having large antiquity, own grammar, and at the same time not borrowed anything from other languages. It's clear? Language, and then we have regional languages and literature. In regional languages and literature, you have to prepare with languages like Gujarati, Marathi, Hindi, Urdu. All these are regional languages of India. Hindi started to emerge from early medieval phase, the first Hindi work being Prithvi Raj Rasu, written by Chandbar Dai. Clear? Later course, Hindi was promoted by Amir Khusro also and Sufi saints as well. Urdu language was promoted by Sufi saint Gesu Daraz, the first Urdu work being Mirajul Ashiqeen. Clear? Marathi was promoted by the leaders of Maharashtra Dham, starting with Gyaneshwari, who translated Bhagavad Gita into Marathi, and then it was promoted by saints like Namdev, Eknath and Tukaram. Clear? Surdas promoted Hindi language, and he wrote work like Sur Sagar and Sur Saravali, and Ramcharitmanas was written by Tulsidas in Avdi dialect of Hindi. All these promoted regional languages in India, but apart from regional languages, classical languages are the most important one. Language and literature. Clear? So this language and literature needs to be prepared. It's a very important topic that needs to be done. So you need to prepare, and languages are being promoted by Sahit Academy, and Sahit Academy is a very leading institution promoted by Government of India in post-independent era. For your information, you must be knowing, clear, that all these languages that began to evolve in India, when India became independence, there was a need to have one national language in India or official language in India. Jawaharlal Nehru decided to have English as India's official language for first 15 years. Clear? And therefore, after 15 years, it was decided to gradually shift to Hindi. But when this 15 years was about to come to an end, at this time, Nehru realized that it cannot be switched over to Hindi immediately, because it was protested by people in southern part of India who raised the slogan of never Hindi, ever English. Clear? And at this time, controversy continued, and still Hindi has not been adopted as national language of India. In fact, no language can take the credit of national language in our country. It's clear? Language and literature. IR is very important, sir. Please freshen up if you need to. Hats off, sir. Clear? Sir, we are with you. Thank you, Samiksha. Clear? So, okay, fine. So this was all about ancient, medieval and culture in India. Clear? So we had completed this cultural part. Be prepared. Institution also needs to be done. Not only Sahit Academy, Lalit Kala Academy, or Sangeet Natak Academy, but Archaeological Survey of India, National School of Drama. All these prepared with these institutions also. They are always asked. Clear? One important topic I would recommend you for culture is be prepared about Basavanna, clear, or Basav, who was the leader in 12th century in Karnataka region, who founded and established a sect known as Veerashaiva sect, also known as Lingayat sect. This is in news these days. So be prepared about Basavanna, who advocated the concept of Sarvodaya, upliftment of all, and he gave this message through short couplets in Kannada known as Vachans, clear. And later on, the life history and teachings of Basav was written in Basav Puran, Lingayat sect, clear, because all the major leaders of Karnataka are followers of the Lingayat sect. Is it clear? Sir, question on Jainism text came in 2022, which were unheard of. Clear? See, again I'll let you know. What has been happened asked, just forget about it. Focus on what is going to be asked. We are covering it and I'm telling you all the areas. Be prepared on these areas. You will get questions in prelims. Take my words. Clear? And if one or two arbitrary questions are there, competition is not for that, but we are giving you the broad areas, all important structure, so that you need to be prepared. Questions you will get, don't worry about it. What has been asked, just forget about it. Focus on the upcoming prelims in May 2023. It's clear. So this is one thing. Now